and welcome back to Soaring For His Glory Ministry YouTube channel. I hope you've had an amazing week. Let me tell you something. When you have faith, you have no fear to show up for him. You have no fear to do what he asks of you, and you have no fear to do what is necessary and oftentimes risky. You will strip away what is not of God and live righteously and not hold back from God's calling on your life. Faith is making sacrifices, and sacrifice is inspired by faith. You see, God desires that we and our future generations have an intimate and dynamic relationship with him. God chose to sacrifice his son, Jesus, so that we may have a future with him. And Jesus, of his own free will, a perfect human being made like you and I, but without sin, bore all of our sins on that cross. Let me read this to you. Isaiah 53 verse 4 to 6 says, "Yet it was our grief he bore, our sorrows that weighed him down. And we thought his troubles were a punishment from God for his own sins. But he was wounded and bruised for our sins. He was beaten that we might have peace. He was lashed and we were healed. We, every one of us, have strayed away like sheep. We who left God's path to follow our own, yet God laid on him the guilt and sins of every one of us." And verse 12 says, "Therefore I will give him the honors of one who is mighty and great, because he has poured out his soul unto death. He was counted as a sinner, and he bore the sins of many, and he pled with God for sinners." Jesus gave himself as a perfect sacrifice for both you and I long before we were born. The relationship that God desires to have with us also requires a living sacrifice, but by the way in which we live. Romans 12:1-2 says, "And so, dear brothers, I plead with you to give your bodies to God. Let them be a living sacrifice, holy, the kind he can accept. When you think of what he has done for you, is this too much to ask? Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but be a new and different person with a fresh newness in all you do and think. Then you will learn from your own experience how his ways will really satisfy you." Faith believes that any sacrifice is worth the destiny that God has planned for us. You see, your faith is about to look crazy to the outside world. I mean crazy, okay? But it's that faith, that crazy faith, that's going to draw God's people back to him. Isn't that what we want? So family, let's say yes to sacrificing our sleep, sacrificing our time, sacrificing our possessions and our energy and anything else that is holding us back from living out God's calling on our lives. Let's say yes to faith. Family, I hope you've enjoyed this video about what faith looks like. If you haven't already, do catch up with the previous videos I've put out about faith, explaining what it is and how it works. There is going to be one last video concluding this whole faith series. I hope you've enjoyed so far. Do let me know what you thought about this faith series, and if you have any other suggestions about what you would like Soaring for His Glory ministry to talk about on this channel, do drop them in the comments below. It's been a pleasure. I hope you have an amazing week. God bless you and your family. Peace.